Within the past few days, we finally got word of the long-awaited question surrounding Final Fantasy XVI. How many copies did it sell? Astoundingly, it has sold 3 million copies in just 6 days, though some article headlines would have you think this is a problem or that it's not impressive. But then again, they'd be wrong. Final Fantasy VII Remake sold 3.5 million copies over 3 days, with an update in August of 2020, that same year, saying over 5 million copies had sold. Now the difference is, right now, the PS5's total sales are around that 40 million mark, just under that. And at the time Remake came out on PS4, there were well over double the amount of total PS4s sold. People also compare it to Final Fantasy XV, which sold 5 million copies the first day, but honestly, it's not even a comparable situation. Final Fantasy XV going through development hell for arguably 10 years, it releasing on both the PS4 and Xbox One, and that there had been no big Final Fantasy title released in the previous 3 years leading up to 15's release. So it would be much more prudent and fair to compare 16 with Remake here, and with that, 16 sales are impressive, and 16 is a game that will continue to sell through the life cycle of the PS5, since it is now a highly regarded PlayStation exclusive. But how did all this happen? Well, Square Enix had an opportunity here to market 16 in the smartest way possible, a way that isn't really possible most of the time. I'm talking about Final Fantasy VII, of course, specifically Rebirth. Let's go back to the month of March. The 16 marketing had been in full swing for a while, and they had just released more information from a panel at PAX East, showing off more of the game. This took place at the end of March. On April 13th, an entire PlayStation State of Play was dedicated to Final Fantasy XVI, garnering more attention, interest, and hype from those who are not necessarily Final Fantasy fans. People were once again reminded on May 24th at the PlayStation Showcase that 16 was coming out by showing their launch trailer for the game. Shortly after, we got news that there would be a celebration event on June 11th for Final Fantasy XVI. This would essentially be the last meaningful time and chance the game would be marketed by Square before the release. And that was it. That was the timeline. All fans had to do was simply wait from that PlayStation Showcase only a couple weeks until the June 11th.
What the fuck? Oh my goodness!
And just like that, Square began one of the smartest marketing campaigns you could do. Beginning on June 2nd, Rebirth's development team released one comment per day, addressing different aspects of the upcoming game. Theories quickly began, with one saying that on the day of Summer Game Fest, June 8th, the 7th comment would drop. They were right. Every day at our respective times, the dev team would release a comment, and very quickly everyone was getting hyped. Then,
it came. The chosen day.
Where the official trailer for Rebirth was shown off, and had everyone on the internet popping off. The hype of this didn't die down by the time 16's celebration on the 11th was shown. As Rebirth's news took the gaming community by storm, 16 was about to ride this hype all the way to the bank. On the 11th, after barely seeing Rebirth in the rearview mirror, so much was shown off for Final Fantasy XVI, and then came the announcement of the demo. This was key to 16's marketing, for if the demo was simply okay or average, that would have negatively changed 16's trajectory. But the consensus was clear from most everyone. The demo ranged from great to fantastic. Finally, June 21st was the last day of unofficial marketing for the game, as the review embargoes lifted. Similar to the demo, if the game was not so great, then who knows what the sales would have been. But like the demo, the game overall reviewed very well, with a Metacritic score of 88 out of 100. Looking through many reviews, the game ranged from usually an 8 to 9 out of 10. And with that, the game marketed itself with those reviews, as reviews are the ultimate marketing material in many respects. To be honest, many people believed you could not market two Final Fantasies at the same time, that showing Rebirth would somehow take hype away from Final Fantasy XVI. They were simply wrong. But to those wondering why no hype was taken away, there are two simple explanations that mesh well together. First, it is when the marketing for Rebirth took place. If they did it the day before 16's release, then there could have been a lot of issues. But doing it at a huge event 3 days before 16's own event for the game, it's perfect. People are hyped for Rebirth, then 3 days later they get interested in the game coming out within 2 weeks. The second explanation is also simple. Rebirth comes out early next year, probably around March. 16 came out in June. People were trying to argue that marketing Rebirth is dumb because it would be like if a company markets two of the same product to the audience at the same time. These people were simply off base. Instead, the analogy would be closer to a company like Apple marketing the iPhone for release next month, but also showing off their new MacBook coming early next year. Both are similar products, but neither really steals market share from the other. That's what happened here. The marketing for Rebirth really hyped up people for a game coming out next year, but also showed the broader gaming community that there's also a different Final Fantasy coming out within a couple weeks, Final Fantasy XVI. And quite simply, the sales of 16 show that all this marketing was a success, and it also inherently helps Rebirth sales next year as well when it comes out. Suddenly, you have a bunch of people playing Final Fantasy for the first time because of 16 when they otherwise wouldn't have, and then have another large Final Fantasy coming just around the corner next year. You also had huge fans of Final Fantasy VII excited for Rebirth, who then got... You also had huge fans of Final Fantasy VII excited for Rebirth, who then got hyped for 16 when they may not have otherwise. It's truly a win-win situation for everyone. And I for one am excited to see the eventual sales update again for 16, as well as how Rebirth performs next year, as I truly believe we are entering another golden age of Final Fantasy content. But alright, that's all I got, so I want to thank everyone for watching, I really appreciate it, and I'll see you all in the next video.